Good morning, everybody. Good to see you.
Good morning, everybody.
He's here.
Good morning.
And Jerry's got us a subject to start with this morning, but before we do that, we'll let Steve, if he's not asleep in his chair,
No, I'm awake.
go through and tell us who's here.
Oh boy, yeah, I got in at 1 o'clock this morning, so I'm beat. Okay, let's see. We got Grandpa Rails. Good morning, JD, Gerald Stewart, Lynn McCurdy, Allison, Rob T-Man, Andy Hot Dog Pilot, John Tanzillo, Schuylkill River Valley, John, Randy Duncan. Good. Whoops, I just lost my. Hang on a second. I just lost my chat. Let me get back on here. Okay, let's see, where was I? John Tanzilla, did I say that? We got Rick Strange. Good morning, Rick. My buddy Bernard Ray Bertelson. Good morning. Let's see, we got Wigwag Stephen. Good morning, John Tanzillo, Gerald Stewart. I said John. Gerald Stewart. And who else did I miss? I'm sure I missed somebody. My eyes are blurry. Anyway, good morning.
Roy's here, and who else is here? Chris Brew's here.
Hey, Chris, I didn't see you. Good morning. Oh, we got Tank 245. What's up, buddy? Oh man, you should see the tank car he did.
I don't think I've ever seen him. Who was he?
Yeah. Who are you, Tank? we got Al Mar popped in. Chuck CDP 1965 popped in. Good morning.
Mark just popped in.
Mark Pruitt. Oh, let me go to sleep.
Curl up on your layout,
man.
Well, we were gonna have Dave from Basin, Wyoming in today, but he's all week, so he's recovering. So Dave, if you're watching, hope you get to feeling better quick, and we'll get you on again sometime as soon as you're feeling better. But Bill's back with us.
Yay.
From Globetrotting again.
Actually, you just came back, right?
Yeah, you just got in this morning.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got a little bit more sleep than Steve did, but not by much.
So anyway, Jerry had asked us before the show, had asked us a question about what the term rivet counter meant to us, well, how we defined it. And I guess we can go with that. Let's start with Jerry. You can explain why you were talking about this.
Well, somebody had posted a video about, another modeler critiquing their layout. And, they were talking about rivet counters, and I just wanted to know what everybody's definition of a rivet counter was. I had never heard the term until I saw the rivet counter line from Scale Trains. What was it, a couple of years ago, I guess? I don't know. But what's a rivet counter?
It's funny. Tim is Tank 245. He's laughing about rivet counting because he just finished. Well, he didn't finish it, but he built a tank car, and I sent him my rivet gun that I used for my tender. So he put in rivets on his tank car. So he doesn't like rivets.
Count a lot of rivets, huh?
Actual rivet counting.
Actual rivet.
Is Tank 2245, is he a live streamer?
Tim Parks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, he's definitely a rivet counter.
So Dennis, what's your definition?
To me, a rivet counter in the term, I don't view the term as derogatory. To me, doing high fidelity work on any one subject where you're trying to do everything right and get all your I's dotted, T's crossed in a standard that is acceptable for you as the individual. I see nothing wrong with that. In fact, for anyone that goes to that length, because, you know, who doesn't want a little bit of fidelity in their modeling? However, if you try and project that onto somebody else's work, because what you want out of your model railroad or your tank car or your locomotive or whatever it is you're working on, what you want is up to you. Who am I to project what I want onto what somebody else wants? So if you cross that line between what I think is right and by God, you need to do it too because this is the way it is or whatever, then you turned yourself into I'll be kind and say jerk. You know,
Yeah.
and to me, those two things are different. You know, rivet counting's fine. Being a jerk to somebody who isn't living up to your expectations for your railroad is a whole different thing.
Well, Chris Brew, you know, he brings up a good point. A rivet counter in the large scale is a foamer that will pick apart everyone's equipment, but does not own anything himself. And we the same thing in this hobby too. They'll pick apart somebody's layout, like you were saying, Dennis, and they don't even have one.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm you know, I think the vast majority of us are like what Ali said there and what Dennis is talking about. That's how the term came about, I think, was people saying, oh, he's a rivet counter. He's so critical of everybody's work that's how the term came about. But you could be somebody that really likes to do scale work and get real meticulous with it. And that's fine if it's your stuff. But there again, don't project that onto something that you want somebody else to do.
Well, that kind of brings up a whole, you know, Ali said constructive criticism. Who am I to constructively criticize somebody else's work? Uninvited criticism, you know, and to me, that's where the line is whether or not that criticism is invited. If it's one thing if you say, hey, guys, I'm curious about whether or not I should A, B, and C, or whatever it is. If you invite ideas from the populace or whatever, then you can expect to get back all kinds of ideas and suggestions. But if you're merely showing your work and saying, this is what I've accomplished, and somebody comes in, steals your joy and says, well, you should have, or why didn't you, or whatever it is, then, you know, those are things that can be a little bit confusing, in my opinion.
Yeah. Round says he tends to run into rivet counters in public layout, when they have a lot to say on how public layout should look and how it should run. And, you know, and they're not part of that. It's like, if you're just there to see stuff, just be there to see stuff. You know, unless somebody asks you that actually owns something there, say, what would you do in this situation? Then you can put your 2 cents in. Otherwise, you know, it really doesn't matter what you think.
All that really matters is that somebody's enjoying the hobby.
Yeah, exactly. And the only reason that they would go to a show, take a module and put it in a layout of a show, is for everybody's enjoyment. And I've seen some that I thought looked really bad, and I've seen some look really good, but I've never say anything about it.
So Mark Pruitt made a good comment.
Let me see if I can find it here.
It's not far off.
You should have. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's.
I would rather hear why did you?
Yeah, why did you?
Why didn't you?
Yeah.
Why did you approach this in this way? Because then you're asking for clarification on your process, and there's not a hint of you should have behind the why didn't you.
Yeah.
There is that, you know, when you go look at somebody's layout, there's always a positive And that's what I focus on is like, hey, this is fantastic. And even if I think to myself, well, again, I would do something different. Well, that's just me. It's not the other person. So I'll
Right.
keep those comments to myself because they're not necessary. We could have every one of us give an assignment and say, each of us go and build a small diorama, to XYZ specifications. And every one of us would do it different. And it would look good. Different aspects of it would look good. There might be areas of opportunity each of us would have, but that's the fun of the modeling. You were talking earlier about, the critics. And I am on a railroad model forum. And there is an individual who would always be criticizing everybody. And people would, kind of fight back a little bit with this person. And this person never showed or did anything to exude that they actually did anything in the hobby. They were simply there to berate and criticize others, but they would never put any of their work up there just to kind of see what others would think about it. And that is what a lot of the folks do that you're talking about. Their negative behavior just because they can be negative and people will listen to them. Where in normal life, there's probably the people that nobody would listen to. Yeah, and it's sad. And for me, like rivet counting, kind of both ways. There's the rivet counters who get into it in a negative way. And then there's the rivet counters who portray the prototypical, the real scale. And it's in, like Claude, you were talking about RC airplanes, war models. There's all kinds of different things where people can get to be super detailed, super accurate. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not a rivet counter. I'm a good enough in the way that I run for the hobby. I've got a variety of off-the-shelf equipment, scratch built, different things. And if it all works together and you get something that looks good and runs good, then I'm a happy camper. I won't necessarily ever run Tyco or early Bachman or, some of the other stuff. But like the Athearn Blue box, hell, I'll shake the box and I'll put those models on because they look good and they run good.
Yeah.
So definitely not a rivet counter, but I have some of my own standards that I apply to. Everybody.
Right. That's the key, is that good enough for you does not always equal good enough for the other individual. And I think some people lack the ability maybe to understand that. That again, it's about projecting what's good enough for me onto somebody else.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Here's a quick question. Is attention to detail rivet counting?
I think it is. I mean,
I do too, to a point.
Yeah. But I think there's two different interpretations of the term. One, the term is being used as a derogatory statement about somebody who interacts with others in a negative way because they are an expert or whatever it is, or yada yada yada. And then the other is how it's applied to the hobby itself.
Well, I mean, look at Mike's comment. There should be two terms of rivet counter: someone who models details, and another term for jerks full of criticism. And he says it confuses him having only one term for both.
Well, there are terms for those people that criticize people, and you know what that is. I mean,
well,
there's several, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, yes, there are. Yeah,
it just depends on how many adjectives
you can't really go there, though.
No, you can't go there. But I don't look at rivet counting as a negative.
I don't either, because I completely view the term as a positive.
I do too. It's everybody. I believe that everybody is a rivet counter. It's just you got your novice rivet counters, your amateur rivet counters, your professional rivet counters, your grade A or grade AA, whatever you want to call it. We're all rivet counters. We all enjoy detail.
Yeah.
Some of us,
detail in something, yes,
and something, right, and whatever it is, something.
Yeah, it's where it gets this negative connotation is the criticism part.
Right.
Especially misplaced criticism. If somebody asks you for your opinion on something, that's one thing. But if you just give it without being asked, that's not right.
Right.
Especially if
you would say,
no
well, why didn't you do it this
where
way?
it came from. Every great once in a while, I'll get a comment that literally I struggle to even understand the comment, where they make this statement, and I'm like, where did that come from? And then, you just do what you do. And thanks. I try not to engage unless there's a question for clarification. If somebody, honestly wants to know, well, why in the world are you doing that? I have no problems explaining whatsoever.
Yeah. I've had people ask me why I did something on my layout, and I'll tell them, that was the easiest way to do it. That's, it does what I needed it to do, whatever the answer is to that, because I don't expect anybody to come and give me praises for my layout. I built that strictly for me.
Yeah.
And if you want to come and see it, great. If you don't like it, that's fine too. You don't have to come back. But and that's kind of the thing with my channel. I don't put out as many videos as a lot of people because that's not what I'm there for. Like I say, I only did the channel because people were asking to see my layout. And so I put that up there, but I don't put a lot of content out for that very reason. I don't really care what anybody else thinks. I mean, I do. When they give me a good comment, I like that. And I reply to all the comments, but, and I don't have too many where they say, well, why in the heck did you do that? They don't say that. They may ask me why I did something, but it's not to me like they're saying, that was stupid. You should have done it this way.
Well, I think the whole, it kind of depends on how you sell yourself though too. If you're putting out content and you sell yourself as a how-to, or you come across as somebody that's, what's the word I'm looking for? Just trying to teach people how to do things in the hobby. Rightfully so, I think you should get some pushback if you're exuding the idea that this is the way to do something.
Yeah, because there's
not just one way to do anything. There's multitudes of ways to do things. And in my opinion, there's no right and there's no wrong. Same materials. I've gotten a little bit of flack because apparently I live in, the 1800s or something, and I'm not using materials that modern people use. I love working with wood. I'm sorry, I'm not going to use foam as my sub road bed. I know a lot of people do, and a lot of people are very successful with it. I have no issue with that. But no one should have an issue with me using 1/2-inch plywood instead of foam.
Right.
It's a choice.
Yeah, exactly. And when I tell somebody about something on my layout, I tell them how I did it. It's like, I think the most watched video on my channel is one where I show how I wire a turnout with a tortoise switch machine. And it's nothing special by any means. It's not even a very long video, but it's got more views than anything else I've got on the YouTube. And I think it's because people have questions about how do you do that. But I don't remember ever getting, and I'd have to go back and read the comments on it, but I don't think I got anything about, well, why'd you do it that way? I think I explained pretty well what I was doing and why I was doing it.
Well, and that's the whole thing with that too, as well, is I think anybody who has watched my channel, from the beginning or even 10 or 15 videos back has an understanding of why I do what I do. But you do get the person, the brand new subscriber who hasn't really watched any of your content and maybe doesn't even intend to watch any more of your content, who will drop a comment that, well, I mean, I get it, but you haven't watched any of my stuff. And you probably didn't even watch the whole video.
Those kind of
most people
people
don't.
when they say, you know, the squirrely stuff, my go-to reply is good for you. You know, if it works for you, more power to you.
Yeah.
I think one of them here recently, I just put congratulations on your success with something that he did different than me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't.
I get those. You know, I gear my content. I gear my content because I enjoy the hobby, and I'll show things that I do. But I always preface it like what you were talking, Dennis. Is this is how I do it. If it works, something different works for you. You do it that way and be happy with it. But I'll just show different techniques and different stuff that I pull out of my rear end that seem to function and work well. And if it works well for others, great. If not, it's not a big deal because the hobby is so diverse. You can do things like you said.
Yeah.
A number of different ways you can do something and still get a good result.
Yeah, and I think the best thing to do is if you're looking to do something like trees, go find the videos that guys are building trees and find all the different ways they're doing it and pick the one that is what you want to do.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about YouTube for that, you know, doing anything like that or getting information, but don't go into somebody else's video and try to tell everybody in that video or in that chat that the guy in the video is doing it wrong, you know?
Well, Tim kind of boils the whole thing down when he says at the end of the day, they're just toy trains and some people just take it too seriously.
Yeah, exactly. It's a hobby.
They're just, you know, they're toy trains and that's it. Like whether or not you want to accept that is up to you. It's just a hobby. It's, you know, it's not real trains. Okay. They're toys. I mean,
it's not a life and death thing. So it's more about ego, I think, than anything else. And that's not good.
Speak for yourself, Tim.
All right, we're done with that rivet counting. What's going on, Dennis? What are you working on?
I don't know. It's sure fired up chat though.
Huh?
It's sure fired up chat though.
Yeah, usually.
I can't even keep up with
comments in chat that we haven't, you know.
Yeah, there are a ton of them, right? Yeah. But like, it's a subject that's like you interpret it the way you want to interpret it, right? It's not good. It's not bad. It's like,
you know. And one thing that I didn't mention that I think is worth mentioning is that I think most of the people that do the criticism, and I don't think they know they are. I think it's how we perceive it. So I don't think there's any malicious intent most of the time by the comments.
Yeah.
The difference is that those people almost without fail, you know, I'm saying greater than 95% do not have a YouTube channel. They may have a railroad. They may have a really nice railroad. They might have lots of really great experience, but they've never shared it publicly, and they've never had anyone go, "You did what?"
So nobody wants to hear in whatever they're doing that what they did isn't that great, right? Nobody wants to hear that, oh man, your kid is ugly, right? That's like
great
game over, man. Here comes the gloves. But like, it's just, you know, it's how, you know, you go, you take things the wrong way that, you know, and you interpret it and you're offensive. You're on defense.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest problems with typing anything into a computer or into a phone, like a chat or a comment on a video or something, is inflection. We have to be really careful how it sounds to somebody that's not us.
Yeah.
Because we may be saying it, the inflection's in our head, how we would say it verbally.
Right.
But when you type it in, you got none of that. So you have to add that stuff in there, and you have to be pretty, you know, pretty watchful of what you're doing, so that it doesn't sound like something somebody would take the wrong way. You know, most people are pretty good about it. And of course, the shorter you keep it, the better probably. But I've seen people say stuff on chats or text or something that they had no intention of it sounding like it sounded when I read it. You know, you got to keep it in that context. But it's not so bad, say, like on our chat here, because everybody's can hear what we're talking about, and it's a little easier to keep up. But when you're just texting between two people, or you're texting or putting a comment in somebody's video, it can be taken the wrong way really easily. So, and I think that's on the person putting the text in, because they may not have meant it that way. So we have to be careful when we're doing that.
But occasionally you'll get some that there's no doubt.
It's like calling your model trains toys. You know, you have to put a definition of what a toy is. I mean, everybody's got a toy. I mean, you know, speedboat and airplane, man, that's a toy. It depends on what you can afford.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would bother me a lot less than other things that can be said, because I agree they are toys. They're just expensive toys.
Allie, I'm really that dumb. See, I could take that as she's talking to me, but I don't know that she's talking to me. But you know, that's kind of what I'm talking about. I think she's just saying this in general. I'm hoping she's just saying it in general. But that's, you know, somebody might see that and take it the wrong way and think she was talking directly to them. And she might have been. But, you know, I think we have to take what we read in comments too with a grain of salt sometimes, and not be too quick to say, oh, well, you're an asshole.
I try and do the 48-hour rule. If it comes across to me in a way that I think might be condescending or intentionally whatever, if my initial take on that comes from that area, I will not respond to it for at least 48 hours. And then I'll read it again and try and always keep in mind that I truly believe most people have your best interest in mind when they leave comments. They really do. They just don't understand how it appears from the other side.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was trying to say. You know, we have to be real careful how that whatever we type in sounds like, because it can be taken several different ways.
Yeah, so whatever they're typing over there, just give it a couple days to sink in. But are we done with rivet counters?
Sure. I think so.
Until there's another tie-in to the topic.
I would ask Bill what he's been up to, but I know he's been traveling, so he hasn't been up to much.
Well, I've got a little bit done actually. Even this morning, I can show you real quick here.
Oh, okay.
Get out! Wow, man, you're a diehard.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, Dennis, close your eyes.
Okay. He's got more enthusiasm than I do.
I've done a little work this morning too.
So I'm back over here on Jerry's build. And what I've been doing is I've been testing to make sure that I can put a splitter in for the handheld little throttle that Jerry's wanting to run with. So I've been testing this morning and it works fine. You know, this is standard telephone equipment. And the way that MRC sets up their throttle and pack is it's a standard telephone line. So I was able to use just a regular splitter to split this, because there's going to be this jack on this side and then another one over on the other side. So I've taken just some standard telephone cable, you know, split it, wired it into the handheld throttle to make sure that there's no glitches before I actually go and I put it on. And everything is working good. So I've been able to get the power pack up, all set. And let's see if I can, for whatever reason, it seems like the power pack has to warm up for a minute before it will do anything. But you can see,
sounds like me.
So I got, like lights, which means I've got the wiring correct. And you can see the train moving over there a little bit. I'll let it come around. But what's cool is that with this layout and the feeders I got put in the right spots, is I can make a DC locomotive literally crawl through the switches here.
Cool.
So, and this is a speed that Jerry wants to run his layout, is about what you see right there, right now.
And that's because of
creep.
And that's because of how you did all your feeders?
Well, I got the feeders in the right spots, I think.
Yeah.
I've got enough on each side of the switches so that I've got good power through. They're Payco switches so that they've got, good connectivity inside for power routing. But this is the speed that Jerry
live frogs or dead frogs?
And
they are, I think, live frogs. The way that Payco runs their jumpers inside, and then
wow.
I
think that, I like that speed because I think people run their trains too fast anyway.
Oh,
generally, yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree. And I know I do the same thing. I try to get it at a much slower speed than what you would for typical viewing, which would be like 70, 80 scale miles per hour blasting by. But, and then I posted on the video that I think I had come out a couple of weeks ago. I got the power panel pretty much done here. Simple little power panel distribution. I am going to put in a shelf that's going to tie in on the back of this. And this is where the power pack is going to set. That way I can then run my feeder off of it to the little bars, be able to run my jumper in to go over to the telephone jack, which is right over here again. So
I've got a question for you,
pretty
Bill.
good. Yeah.
Okay, you said that his layout was going to be set on a table that he already has. How does that panel interface with the table it's going to actually set on?
So the table is about like from here over. So it's like a 4-foot long desk type that he had a friend build. So all of this is going to be overhang and not interfere with anything with the table that he's got. Same thing over there, because I'll make a little drop down for the phone jack to set on and center it over on the other side. But that he'll have plenty of space between his desk workspace and then the ends of the layout. So nothing's going to interfere.
Bill, now, are you doing this layout to completion as far as scenery and everything, or is he going to do the scenery on it?
It's going to be a combination. So I'm going to give him and his family some clinics on end scale tree building. I will paint the track and ballast. He's doing the buildings. And then once he gets farther along, then we'll look at doing additional scenery work. And then we'll do that jointly. But it won't be long before we'll be able to have this layout go over to Jerry's house. As soon as I get the additional wiring done, I'm going to get some ties and file them down so I can fill in gaps. And I'll probably do that this weekend, and then paint the track and ballast it. I'll get everything done to that, and then it's ready to go over to his house for the additional work. But yeah, you can see the locomotive is still running at that nice slow pace all the way around.
That's a nice crawl. What are all the white things on the layout? What are they designate?
So this is what Jerry put together, and this is how he wants to do his building layout. So you can see on here, he's got different businesses that he's building out of kits.
Okay.
He's putting in roads.
Gotcha. I don't see that detail.
Yeah. So he's got everything laid out.
Yeah.
As far
Gotcha.
as he wants based upon the kits that he has.
Cool.
So he's got it well thought out what he wants to do. So
Is this his first layout?
No, he's had others in the past.
Okay.
But just, again, with age, space limitations, this is probably going to be his final one.
Gotcha.
It's a lot of detail in a small space.
Yeah.
The layout, and I've commented on it several times in the videos, is that the track plan that he put together is really pretty cool. You know, you can run a lot of equipment on here. You can do a fair amount of switching. It's got good scenery potential. You know, for a small N scale layout, you know, this is a nice one. It really runs well, and it was well thought out by Jerry.
And it looks big. I mean, I know it's not very big, but
No,
it does look big.
Now,
Like little over, I think 6 feet long, and you know, a little over 2.5 feet wide.
so he came up with this track plan on his own, or did he take it from something else?
Nope, he came up with it on his own. He had planned on doing a bigger layout. That sort of, you know, didn't come to fruition. Then he designed this one as something that would work in the limited space that he had. And, you know, with just tweaks to the track plan, when I actually put it together, you know, it's pretty much identical to what he had drawn on paper.
Yeah, because it looks very reminiscent of what you'd find in the Lynn Westcott book.
Yeah, and he may have gotten, you know, inspiration from those. You know, he's been an avid, you know, model railroader enthusiast anyway for a long time.
Yeah, because I don't I don't know any model railroader that had visions of building a layout of any size really that doesn't have 101 track plans or one of those books. I got them and I spent more time looking at them than I did building anything and dreaming about what I wanted to build from the plans.
Yeah, I got the 101 layout plans back when I was a kid. You know, I'm old now, so I've had it for years, and I built a couple of those plans. You know, modified them when I was a teenager. I just loved it. You know, and it gives you great inspiration for things that you want to do.
Hey, Bill, what is that crossover there in the middle? Was that something you made, or was it something you bought?
So those are just 90-degree crossovers.
Oh, okay.
I just trimmed them to fit the track plan.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah. So Jerry bought all of the equipment for the layout. You know, and then I cut and paste combination of, you know, sectional track. There's some flex track in a few areas in here. And Jerry likes the clickety-clack sound. So with the sectional track, you know, it makes that nice little tick, 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 tick sound as it goes. And that's something that he likes. And I like it too. So, you know, I don't have any qualms about using sectional track where it's appropriate. But anyway, that's what I've been up to.
That's a lot.
Yeah, you've been busy today.
Yeah, with you globetrotting all over the place.
Yeah. That's the fun thing with a small layout is that you don't have to spend a lot of time to make something that feel like you've accomplished something.
Yeah.
How about you?
Maroon Creek
What have you done since your last update?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can show you where I'm at right now.
Yeah. We're always a step ahead, just like Bill. We get to see what's happening before your next update.
Yeah, let me swap this around.
Need to trim your nose hair.
Yeah, I know. It comes with age.
Yep.
It's going to be, the wind is blowing about 60 mile an hour outside, so.
Perfect day to stay inside and work on the layout then.
Yeah. So I've got the first section of, let me get where the sunlight is kind of all right. The first section of Maroon Creek all ready to lay track on. So that's the next process, is to get all the track put in its final resting position. I won't mess with this one. I'll wait until it's all back on the supports to do that. But I'm trying to just put the cork in the places it needs to be. I've got a full roll, but all of this I use scrap for. And I've got a couple, 3, 4 more pieces of scrap, you know, that I'm going to try and use on the other side of the river. So that's going to be the next process today.
Heath wants to know
Go
why
ahead.
Maroon Creek's not actually maroon in color.
Do what?
Heath wants to know why Maroon Creek isn't actually maroon in color.
That's a good question. I have no idea why, because there actually is a real Maroon Creek.
It
I
sounds
don't
like
know any of the history as to why it was called that, though. I might have to look that up.
he sounds like a rivet counter to me.
So, you know, I've got this section here will come off independently of the next section. And I need to cut off that little chunk and then this little chunk. And then each side is now independently supported. And so then it's just a matter of putting the river on underneath. I don't know if I'll get to that this weekend or not, but you know, before I get too far with any of this, I have to figure out the backdrop. And I'm thinking right now that the backdrop is probably going to be 6 inches higher than the plywood. I just don't know how high up on the wall it's going to go, because I have to take that into consideration with the valance, and I don't know how far the valance is going to come down. I think I'm going to create some analogs to do some testing with that. Part of me wouldn't mind having a shadow box through here. In other words, a narrower vision of narrow field of vision. But at the same time, you know, that's going to kind of create some complications that I don't know that I want to mess with. So I'm going to do some testing before I make the decision. I don't know why it's not focusing. But that's where I'm at.
All I can say is I'm glad it's you and not me. I am pretty much done with all my, you know, all my levels, but all I got left to do really is scenery and all the little detail stuff.
Well, I truly think that this is the last of my severely complicated issues. The only other thing that will be a little more complicated is this corner in here where the next location is on the High Line.
Hey, Dennis.
Everything else, you know, is kind of, I think will be pretty standard and easy bench work.
Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
I know I probably asked this before, but what happens with all that negative space?
Well, define negative space for me.
Go back to the left. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Like you see, right? Keep going left. Keep going left. Go down. What happens with, you know, how you got those spots where the track's going to be, and what goes in between them?
In here?
Yeah, like all that negative space where there's holes. Like what goes in there?
Well, so there's going to be a ridge line that comes across the top here, and then part of it will come down in here.
Oh, okay.
And then part of it comes down in here. All of this trackage, you can see where they cross each other. You know, eventually there will be a tunnel coming out there. And then all of this, the inner track up to probably about this point, will be non-viewable, hidden. There will be, hopefully, another river that comes through here that connects with the river on this side. So there's a bridge up there, which I've already kind of got. I can lift that out and I think very easily put the bridge in. I've done all the measuring and all of that for it already. And there will be another bridge in here that I still have to figure. It'll just be a matter of cutting the spline there, you know, supporting on either side of the cut, cutting the spline and dropping in the bridge. So and that ridge line will continue all the way back across here and then connect with this ridge line. And likewise, the mountain will come down here and create another ridge line that goes across here. and then eventually we'll connect here.
Man, I get anxiety just looking at that.
I know a lot of people do, and I know there's a lot of people that, and here, you know, kind of going back to comments where we began this,
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are like, he's never going to get that finished. I don't care.
yeah,
I literally don't care. I am enjoying the hobby the way I want to do it.
yeah,
And some people, you know, that they're eager, and I understand, you know, to put up the plywood, do whatever they need to do, and get their trains running.
yeah.
I have viewed from the very beginning, with no illusions, that this is going to be a long-term project into my retirement and beyond. So, you know, I'm not concerned. I have no anxiety whatsoever about not finishing this. I don't.
Well, the rivet counters do.
I know.
I will be shocked if I finish mine, and I'm a lot closer to finishing mine than you are finishing yours.
Do what?
I said, I'll be really shocked if I finish mine. And I'm a lot closer to finishing than you are. As one would say,
I
it's
totally
finished.
get it. Yeah, I totally get it. But it should be purely my concern, not somebody else's.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
no. I don't say that in a
Without
negative.
a doubt, I believe at some point I will have a working model railroad that I will enjoy regardless of the state of the scenery at any given point in time.
But I
I
guess
plan on doing sections of the scenery, you know, because that's how you accomplish anything big and grandiose, is
Yeah.
you narrow it down to what is important today,
Yeah.
and then you stick to what it is you're doing.
It's the journey.
You're wrong, Dennis.
I know I'm wrong.
No, I think people see the size of that building when you finally get turned around on some of these shots you just showed us, and you actually see how big of layout you're going to have. It's overwhelming for most people.
It is, yeah.
And I can see them saying to state, you're never going to get done with that, because they can see themselves never being able to have that. Thank you for turning
Well,
sideways.
and you know, and that's fine. And
Yeah.
because, you know, I don't know if, you know, for the Boomer watchers, which probably most of us are, but Boomer loves railing against the big layout. Everything he says about the big, large railroad and all of the pitfalls and it's all true. I'm not going to argue with any of those things concerning the large railroad. But again, it's about how you, as the modeler, engage with the hobby. And the important thing is that you're enjoying it. And I think a lot of people could recognize a project like this is just not for them, you know, because it's going to take too long, too much commitment, too much money, however it is. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm not that person.
But you went into this eyes wide open, knowing it's going to be a multi-year project. So you already know all of this, unlike others who, you know, maybe are trying to build a monster layout thinking they can get it done in 6 months. It's just unrealistic. You know, you've got the right thought. You know, it's going to take time. You know that you're going to focus on certain things at certain points, and you're going to get your enjoyment out of it. You know, it's about the journey to the destination,
journey before
not the destination itself.
Yeah.
I hope to meet the destination.
Well, yeah, that's the goal everybody wants.
You hope the train comes
that's
in.
just it. If I never get it completed, I will got what I wanted out of this hobby.
Yeah.
I got what I wanted out of it.
You will have years
going back to the beginning of the program. Too many people project what they want out of the hobby onto others. So I don't care what.
Well, here's the thing, right? I think for me it is like you watch all these videos, right? And people are building their layouts and blah blah blah, and like it just seems to like they're done. You know, they're just like they start and they're done. It's like
Throw a little
It's-
pixie dust and wave the magic.
yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, you don't see all the hard work in between to get to somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I will take you upstairs and show you what little I've got done up here.
Mike says it was a joke about responding to comments. I think I typed it. I'm not sure what he means by that, but I guarantee there's none of my regular commenters on any of my, am I passively aggressively, suggesting that they're doing anything. All of my regulars are fantastic. It's the people that aren't subscribers and are watching essentially one video and then driving by.
Yeah, the one and done.
I watch your videos. I don't care about your layout. I like your music.
Yeah. Got the best music in model railroading.
I've had people tell me that they couldn't stand the music. I've had people tell me that was way too loud.
They're wrong.
Well, their music
Can't please everyone. Go ahead, Claude.
Okay, this is just a little scene break I've got between the backdrops.
And it looks great.
And I try to get close to what the backdrop mountains are in the background.
Did
Kind of
you
like I
make
did.
that out of mashed potatoes?
Say again?
Did you make that out of mashed potatoes?
Yeah, potted plants and mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rock
good.
castings on here. Now, when I do rock castings, I've got the Woodland Scenic rock castings, and a lot of these are just partial castings out of those molds. I don't usually do the whole mold. Keeps it looking more natural. And then as I apply them too, if I've got a curved base on them, I'll take them and I'll stress them over that and break it. So you get a kind of a natural break in it. And this is just the base painting on it right now.
I've got a name for that.
I'll add
color. The color looks great.
Yeah,
Hey, Claude, I've got a name for that. You call it Devil's Steeple.
Devil Steeple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Satan's Steeple. Instead of Devil's Tower, Satan's Steeple. I can say it.
Okay. But
Rivet
anyway,
counter
yeah,
pass.
this is a long way from being completely finished on it. Obviously, it still has to have ground cover. And once I get the ground cover and stuff put in a lot of these crevices and on top of this stuff, it starts to look a lot more natural. It's kind of a process, and it was the same way with the big mountain, in the middle here. I was scared to death to paint it, but you just take a little bit of craft paint. It's all this is craft paint, water-based craft paint, and put it on and dab it off and put some more on, dab some more off. And pretty soon it starts looking like what you think it should look like.
I wants to know when it's going to erupt.
It's not that kind of mountain, but yeah, this is just 3 colors. This is the base gray color, and then the burnt umber is the rust color on there, and then it's just got a black wash over that.
Heath wants to know what the white paper's for. He's confused about the white paper.
Well, it's when I blow my
Permanent
nose.
fixture.
That's so I can blow my nose. I just ended up putting paper towels down instead of. I usually bring a sheet in and put it in here, but I didn't. I just brought the paper towels in here to keep the plaster off everything, and the paint. You can see how messy I get with it because it's all watered down. So you get the brush going on it. You got to be really careful. You can see the splashes I got up on the wall up there. It's real easy to get messy with it when you're doing it, but it seems to work really well, and it's super easy to do for me anyway, because I am not a real good artist. But
The results are good, really good.
yeah, like I say, once you get the ground cover and it gets some trees on it and stuff, it'll look completely different here before long. And I'll be trying to match the scenery around, each side of it. So it'll be fun to finish up. Over here, I don't really have anything over here, although I did bring in the one little engine house that's going to be on here and got it connected.
That looks great.
I I did have all the houses up here because I've got my roads kind of laid out where I want them, but I of course got them put away so I don't damage them. But anyway, that's the look, and you can kind of get a look here. And of course, all the buildings are lit. You can see the lights in the coal tower there.
Heath is asking Bill what kind of rock formation that is that Claude has there. Is there a term for that kind of rock formation, Bill?
Yeah, awesome.
I didn't learn that in school. I don't. Anyway, that's what I've been doing.
It's great, Claude.
Yes, it does.
And one of these days, I did a video on painting. Get this off here. I did a video painting some rocks on one of my deals, but I didn't really explain too much how I was doing it. And I have had people ask me how I did something on, painting wise on it. And
it'd be cool to hear how you do it.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's not really hard to do. I should have done one when I was painting this, just to kind of explain how I do it. But it's super easy. Like I say, I was scared to death doing the main mountain before I did it, and one day I said, "Well, I got to start sometime," because it was just this giant white thing in the middle of the room, and so I just got the craft paint out and the paper towels and start slopping it on there. And if it got too much, I'd dab it off, dab the runs off and stuff like that. And then you just kind of layer it up and, put the highlights, the red and mostly the red, but, and then do a black wash over it. I do mine kind of reverse of what a lot of people do. I do the darker colors usually first and then put the other stuff on top of that. But it kind of looks like I need it to look. And so in every place I've done this, they all look a little bit different. All the paintings come out a little bit different, which is good because you don't want them all look exactly the same. But anyway, it's like I say, I don't really have anything else to paint like that, though. Is the only thing about trying to do it again and show it. But I could maybe do a small mock-up or something and kind of show how I do it. It's, like I say, super, super easy.
Yeah, Chris Brew had a comment. I know it's kind of late. I've been looking at supplies on the market. Can you bring that up?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it.
There's not a lot available. I don't know what you're looking for. What are you looking for?
Yeah, and it depends on where he lives. And if you're talking about just going into a hobby shop or a Hobby Lobby or Hobby Town, they can be limited on what they carry in stock.
Yeah.
And there's some of the places, scenery places, I know guys that were running them have either retired or just quit doing the business. So sometimes that can make it a little tougher to find. But there again, what kind of supplies you're looking for?
Yeah, where you're going, what you're looking for. There's always an alternative to things out there, Woodland Scenics makes a ton of stuff, and it's kind of overwhelming, all the different stuff that they make. You look at it all and you think, oh, you need this to do that, you need this to do that, but maybe there's one thing that does both.
There's a good way to start with like scenery stuff, like you're talking Woodland Scenics, is you can still get some decent deals on eBay for like lot scenery. And if you search for that lot Woodland Scenics, you can sometimes find leftovers that somebody else
right.
Good price that gives you a good variety to
for sure.
Well, go out in the backyard and
dirt,
sift some dirt out.
Lots of garden dirt.
Yeah, I was watching a video. Who was that? It was actually a guy that does slot cars. Did a slot car track up in Detroit, and if you like slot cars, you can ask me what his channel is. It's not really his channel. It's his nephew's channel that was filming it. But the guy's a phenomenal modeler, and he was doing sifting rocks from his backyard, gravel, and he had like 6 or 7 different sizes that he was using, and he just used different sieves, and he was using, one of them was something that you stick in the oven, some kind of tray that you put in the oven was his first sieve, you know, and get the biggest stuff out. So there's all kinds of stuff you can use like that.
You can get a variety of like kitchen strainers that have the different size holes, perfect for sieves, and it doesn't cost much to get you started.
Yeah, he had 2 or 3 different kinds of things. He had a lot of the kitchen sieves, but then he had other stuff too that you wouldn't ever think to use to. One of them was the bottom of like a tool stool or something. Had a tool tray in the bottom that had holes or grooves in it. He was using that. It was really strange, but he got all the sizes that he wanted out of that, and it was all from his backyard. So anyway, that's our time, guys. Hope everybody has a good rest of their week and a good weekend and good week.
Thanks everybody for coming by.
If you're in make sure if you're going to watch the eclipse that you don't look at it with the naked eye, because that may be the last thing you see.
That's true.
Yeah.
And if you can see it, go see it, man. A total eclipse will change your life.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. We should I should be close enough here that we'll get kind of a partial eclipse. So I'm sure we'll get some daylight change if it's not cloudy that day. But anyway, Bill, thanks for being here. Steve, Dennis, Jerry.
Yep.
We will see you guys next week.
See you, everybody.
Have a good week.
Take care, all.